Hey people, what's going on? We're back for another College Football Saturday. This is the second edition of the Saturday Six Pack. Last week we went 4-1. Yes, that doesn't add up to six. There were only 5 games that had huge differentials in point spread. And again, just as a precursor before I get into the picks, what this is, I'm not picking the six biggest games of the week or the six most competitive games of the week. I'm picking the six games that have the biggest point differential between the Vegas line and what my power rating numbers are. So some of these may be a 5 or 6 or 7 point difference in power ratings. That's how I'm doing this. So if there are not big games in here every week, that is the reason why. For me to even pick a game, it needs to be at least a point and a half different than the Vegas line is. And you'd be surprised how many games Vegas hits right within that 1.5, 1 point swing. So that will be, if there are any complaints, those are the reasons why. Some were more than a point and a half, but they weren't the biggest six of the week. So these are the six biggest differentials in the power ratings compared to the Vegas line. So let's get going. First game is East Carolina at Michigan. Michigan Wolverines are lifting the curtain on their 2023 season with national championship aspirations. They will not have head coach Jim Harbaugh. He is serving the first of his 3 game suspension. So one of the assistants will be handling the chores for the Wolverines. In terms of some numbers to look at, East Carolina has never beaten a Big Ten team, and they're just 3-8 against the spread versus ranked teams since 2015. So they have a little bit of work to do. Michigan is 10-4 against the spread in home opener since 2009, but just 16-22 against the spread in non-conference games. So this is a lot of points in this one. It's a 36 point spread, and that seems like an awful lot for two teams playing their first game. Mike Houston is a pretty good coach. They are ECU is 11-4 against the spread as a double-digit dog under Mike Houston. And you know what? We are going to lean. We think that there is going to be a little bit of rust from both teams. That's an awful lot of points. So the pick for this one is the East Carolina Pirates. All right, moving on to game two, we go to Norman, Oklahoma, with the Arkansas State Red Wolves venturing in to take on Brent Venables' Oklahoma Sooners. The Sooners are looking for bigger things this year after a down year in Venables' first campaign as head coach, and the Sooners' last season in the Big 12. They want to go out on a high note. They want to compete with Texas, and a lot of people are expecting them to for the league title. Arkansas State has not done well in the Sun Belt, although Butch Jones does have them playing reasonably better. This is another huge point spread game. This is 35 points. Oklahoma has won the 2 meetings in the series by 106-7, and they're 4-1 against the spread in their last 5, favored by as many as 35 points. So they are not afraid of big numbers. They have a lot of transfers in. Venables has changed the culture. Arkansas State certainly is up against it. There's a huge talent disadvantage, but they are 5-1 against the spread as a double-digit road dog in non-conference games, and they're 8-4 away as a double-digit dog under Butch Jones, including the last time they went on the road to face a Big 12 team in 2020. They came away with a 35-31 win over Kansas State. They have great special teams. That might be what keeps them at least in the ballpark in this one. Full disclosure, my Arkansas State hat bit the dust about a month ago. I do not have a new one, but the Red Wolves are my pick in this one with the 35 points. So in the Oklahoma-Arkansas State game, give me Arkansas State plus the points. Okay, next up we venture to the SEC and the Auburn debut of Hugh Freeze. Not the SEC debut, but the Auburn debut of Hugh Freeze. Auburn is a team that has gotten a lot of buzz with a lot of transfers. As the season has gotten closer, people seem higher on the Tigers than maybe they were during the summer. So Auburn will be a very interesting team to watch. They are taking on the visiting UMass Minutemen, who came off of a win last weekend over New Mexico State. Pretty impressive win. They actually won by 11 points on the road, and UMass looked like a completely different team than the one that played last year. They had some confidence. They were able to punch it in after some turnovers. This is not the same pushover UMass team. However, they are going in to a place where they have a huge roster disadvantage, and the spread again is another huge one, 35 points. With a first game in a new system, you have to wonder if Auburn is going to be able to cover. Their 2-3-1 in their last 6 home openers against the spread, 3-6 against the spread in non-conference games the last 2 years. However, they are 3-1 in their last 4, favored by 35 or more. So that's a positive. As far as UMass is concerned, they've never beaten an SEC team, 0-10. But here's an odd stat: they have covered 9 straight as a double-digit dog on the road. So they are definitely getting close. Usually those are pretty big spreads. They are an improving team. And again, Auburn with Hugh Freeze and some new questions at some big spots. They did get some transfer portal additions, but first games are always kind of a crapshoot, so you never know what's going to happen. So there are numbers on both sides, but in this one with a high point spread, we are taking UMass for the second week in a row. We are going with the Minutemen plus the points. Pac-12 is the site of our next game. Boise State, one of the best G5 teams, will venture into Seattle to take on the Washington Huskies. Kalen DeBoer led the Huskies to a very surprising double-digit win season last year, and they have huge optimism as Pac-12 title contenders. So it'll be very interesting. This is actually a pretty marquee matchup. Boise State is 0-5 against the spread versus Washington, but they're 9-4 as an away dog since 2017. So if you overlook Boise State, you do so at your own peril. The Huskies are just 7-8 as a home favorite in the last 3 seasons, and they're 4-6 against the spread as a home favorite of between 10 and 17. The spread on this one is 14. The Huskies have a better roster, and they do have a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., but their defense wasn't great last year. Taylon Green and George Holani certainly have a very intriguing matchup for them defensively. Green as the quarterback and Holani as the running back. Boise could put up some points on Washington, and 14, while you would think that that's not a lot to overcome, we think that Boise is going to be, if not the best G5 team this year, certainly one of the best. So in a game that we see going right down to the very end, we are taking the Broncos of Boise State to cover the 14. We move on to the great state of Texas for our next game, Denton, Texas, to be specific, where the North Texas Eagles are going to be hosting, yes, you heard it right, hosting the Cal Golden Bears, a Pac-12 team going on the road to face a group of 5 team. Justin Wilcox has one of his more experienced teams in recent years, and even with all of the hubbub floating around about Cal changing conferences and the disintegration of the Pac-12, this is a team that may be flying a little bit under the radar and might be better than people expect. They are just 2-3 against the spread versus current AAC team since 1979, and only 3-8-1 as a road favorite since 2013. They are the favorite. They're giving 7 to North Texas at home. The Eagles have, or the Mean Green have a new coach in Eric Morris. So it's a new system. It's some new starters. These things typically take a little bit of time to gel, and you have to wonder if, in those cases, you want to go with the team that's more experienced. But they do have a really good rushing attack, and Cal can be strong against the run, so it's going to be strength against strength. North Texas in non-conference play is 24-21 against the spread, and they are 11-10 as a home dog since 2013. We thought that this spread was a little bit low, but our numbers show that it's only slightly low. So that means we are taking the Cal Bears to get off to a 1-0 start. And our final game of the weekend takes us back to the Pac-12, where we are in Los Angeles for USC hosting a Mountain West team. For the second week in a row, they are hosting Nevada. They beat San Jose State last weekend, scoring 56 points. Ken Wilson won just 2 games last year in his debut for Nevada, but they brought in a lot of transfers. They got better at a lot of spots. They should not be the pushover that they were last year, and they could actually climb up to the middle of the Mountain West standings. They have not had great success, though, against USC. They are 0-5 straight up, and they've been outscored 33-3 against USC in 5 meetings, and they're just 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 meetings with the Pac-12. USC is just 15-21 against the spread in non-conference play since 2013, but they are 2-1 as a favorite of 35 or more since 2018. The spread on this one is 35. You have to wonder if they want to have a little bit better, at least defensively, a little bit better effort than they did last week. San Jose State scored 28 points, and USC, as they typically have under Lincoln Riley, they looked a little lost. They missed some tackles. They didn't play with a lot of energy. So they may want to put the clamps on a little bit more defensively this week. We will see if that happens. So again, it is a high point spread. So if you put a gun to our head, we are going to take Nevada to cover. That's going to do it for the six pack for this week. We will recap at the end of this video what our picks are for this week, and we will see you again next weekend. Hope all of your bets are winners.